Okay, I'm gonna. Yo,
Hello.
how's it going?
It's going. How are you?
Not bad. Thanks for asking.
I was in that class, by the way. I was listening at
Oh,
the end of it.
I looked for your name in there. I didn't see you. Must have missed it. Okay. Cool, man. So I saw a bit of your notes. In terms of talking to Jacob during the meeting before this. It sounds like you've been having a little bit of a rough bout since our last coaching session.
Yeah, I've lost 500 MMR. I've been trying to play Luna a lot more. It's weird because like a lot of these games that I'm losing, I am fighting for my life to like win. Like my team's getting crushed, but like I'm behind the scenes going to the lanes while the enemy's distracted and taking all their tier ones. You know, like because like I don't know, just anything I can do to like get the farm I need while like simultaneously um, creating the potential for space on the map, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, for sure.
Um, uh, yeah, and there's even one that I lost, I like clawed my way back from the game. Like I lost the lane, I found the farm, I clawed my way back. I'm like the highest net worth on the map by a wide margin, and we get ratted at the end by a mid lion. We got cheesed so hard, and like I was the only one who noticed and decided to TP back, and then the pudge hooks me, cancels my TP, and nobody else goes back to like stop this as like because I had reached the point where I was unkillable as Luna. Like I could have fought all of them in one, and no one went back to stop it, so we lost. And it's been a wild like 3 weeks.
Okay, so you've been having some pretty demoralizing games, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that. I guess I would just ask, like, through all of that, how does it? Because you're saying all the things you're saying that you're doing. Do you feel like you're like? Do you feel like what we talked about last time in regards to like being more creative with your farming patterns and all that kind of stuff? Do you feel like it's having benefits, or like what's your gauge on
I
like your impact on these games? I know it's hard exactly with all the chaos and stuff, but
I do feel like there's moments where like I have a lot more clarity in the game. Like, I'm like farming a jungle somewhere and I see a lion pop up near me and like I'm like, okay, his other support's with him. Let me check his inventory. Oh, he has a smoke. I could be getting ganked. This other support has a ward. Let me keep an eye on like if he places it or not. Like I do feel like I have moments where like my how much I'm paying attention to like what is actually happening in the game is higher, but I don't feel like it's consistent and I don't feel like it's translating to wins, if that
mm.
makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. Well, give me 1 second. Okay, so I'll just say this. I'm not. We're gonna have to check out your replay today to like give conclusive evidence. But there's a very good chance that you're doing everything you need to do in terms of improving from last session, and you're on the J curve, which I just call it the J curve because that's what it's shaped like. You make a meaningful improvement, and the short term you go down, and then in the long term you go up. Because for me, if you're actually making good improvement, I usually say to people, if you're making significant changes to the way you view the game in the short run, it's not enough to offset what you're not thinking about or not doing in order to do this. Like you are using your brain power on something that you're not used to using it on. So there's quite a potential that I don't know for sure until we watch today, but you could be doing all the things right and not all the things right, but like you could be doing much better on all of the stuff that we discussed. And this stuff doesn't, like, if you're making meaningful improvements, it doesn't fix things overnight. Like it's not going to suddenly make you, like, I would almost say if somebody instantly climbed 500, I'd be more like, well, they probably should have been that MMR in the first place. But what I'm thinking
Right.
is that if you're going down, we're gonna decide it when we watch your games. I just want you to know that I've seen it time and time again where people are on the right track with initially short-term uh downswings. So I just don't want that to steer you off course, while I know it can also be very frustrating and like dissuasion, like it can be dissuading and disencouraging. But hopefully, it sounds like what you just said to me sounds like you are applying what we talked about. Like that, like you gave your own version of like what it feels like in your games, and that sounds like what we were going for. Now we just need to see, maybe what's happening there. Maybe I steered you in the wrong direction somehow. Maybe you are just doing the right things, and in the short term, it hasn't paid off yet. But yeah,
Right.
that's what we're gonna
I
hopefully
do
decide today. But go ahead.
something uh I've done this like 3 times now. Like this is the third time I've lost Ancient. I've lost.
Yeah.
I'm used to large swings in MMR, and I do think that over the last year my MMR has been slightly inflated because of Juggernaut. Um,
Mm.
and I think that I'm coming to terms with that a little bit
Okay.
because like before when I would lose MMR, I would just play Juggernaut and I'd win. And
Mm.
now that he's been nerfed, I don't win as much with him.
That makes sense. Yeah. The thing is I actually said this, and somebody said it resonated with them really well, so I want to keep using it. I think it's just really important we be careful of optimizing what I call dead ends. It's like if your if your MMR is kind of propped up by Juggernaut and your default when you're losing is to go play Juggernaut, you're effectively optimizing a dead end. Do you see what I mean? Like
Yeah.
your MMR can only go so high with just playing one hero, and if you're not learning other stuff on other heroes, then you're effectively optimizing a dead end. So, like for me, God, something stuck in my throat. 1 second. For me, it's just there's gonna be things that we do that got us to where we are. And have you ever played the game Factorio?
I have not. I have
Okay.
heard of it though.
Okay. I'm gonna give my best quick short description. So what happens in Factorio is you're automating a factory, and you're getting like processes where you have like things. First you start by mining the coal yourself, and then you build machines that mine the coal for you, and then you transport the coal yourself, but then you build machines that transport it for you. And what ends up happening is you you combine like three of the base resources into different things, and then you combine three of those different things into other things. So you end up with this like factory that's like feeding itself in the game. But what happens is when you get to like 4 hours into the game, what happens is you become capped based on things you did at level 1, like things you did at like the start that you weren't fixing because you didn't know they were problems, like because you were just
Hmm.
starting off. So what that's for me is what it means to like optimize a dead end is that your system that you've had in place that's gotten you this far, which means that there's a reason you've clung to it because it's gotten you this far. Usually what I call it the factorio thing is where I'm like, when I find myself at a quote unquote dead end, I need to basically go back to stage 1 and do it differently. So for you, maybe you optimized Jug, but you didn't really optimize how to learn a hero. So maybe we need to like help you learn heroes. I'm just giving an example. But did that analogy, do you know what I mean, or did that analogy kind of not make sense?
Yeah. Yes. It made sense to me.
Okay, cool. I like to call it the
So
factorio approach. Like that, I like my girlfriend and I know what it means, so I always just say to her, "I'm just doing the factorio again, resetting the
yeah,
base." But go ahead, you were gonna say something.
I guess so here let me share my screen with you.
Sure.
What kind of here's my history, right? So I guess my question is, what kind of game are you looking to look at? Um, like there's this one where, what is this? This one I felt like I was doing great. Um, and then my Viper just kept dying to a Juggernaut, and I feel like he just shot up in net worth from it. And if we had just kept this trajectory, like right around here, I would have been like critical mass and we could have ended the game. Um, then there's this one where it was my whole team was like kind of falling apart. I went a really weird item build where I just went straight Silver Edge at the start to fight the strength of this guy, and it did work out. Like I did. If you see Luna, right, like I trajected upwards pretty hard, but like I
Mm.
couldn't translate it to a win. You know, at the highest net worth on the map, can't even win the game.
I would like to point out real quick, I
This
want to
one,
interrupt you. Are you going Ags every game?
no, absolutely not.
Because the
This
two you
was
just
just
showed
a
me went
game.
Ags.
Yeah, I did go Ags here because the biggest problem was like PA and Timber, and I know Timber hates magic damage, so I wanted to break him, you know, throw damage at him melee wise, and then unload my ult into him, so like I could turn and deal with the rest of the team. Eventually, though, obviously looking at this Quap, who's 21-3 or 22-4, she became a hell of a problem, you
Okay,
know.
I'm going to interrupt you real quick. You're
Yeah.
going to win games by thinking, how do I make my hero as strong as humanly possible for your first 4 items?
Okay.
5th and 6th item, you can start thinking about countering enemy heroes.
Right.
Actually, I want you to make that significant change to the approach. The only things you do to counter enemy heroes with your items is things that kill you. So, like,
Okay.
if you need a Lincoln's versus Legion, for instance. But, like, what I'm telling you is it's a dangerous, slippery slope for you to be telling me who's the problem, and you're building ways to kill them with your
Right.
items. Does that make sense? Like, you can build to kill them with your 4th, 5th, 6th items. But I can tell you this is a common trap people run into. So, like, I would... I'm not exactly sure what type of game I would like to watch with you, but I would really like to, like, this is super important, like, in terms of general changes. First, like, 3 or 4 items, do not itemize to counter enemy heroes. Make yourself stronger. Only counter items are defensive ones that prevent their way of killing you.
This has been my tip. So those were losses, right? I was
Yeah.
trying to imagine a way to win in those. But if you look at this on my screen, this has been my typical build. Especially like if I'm just like winning the game, I go Mask of Madness, then Dragonlance, Yasha, Manta, Pike, then like a survivability item. This one was Lincoln's because of the Legion. I was doing well, and I felt like the only thing that would kill me was a Legion duel, so I didn't want to deal with that. And then after that, Satanic, so I could just stand and man fight, and Swift Blink crit. You
Okay, and
know,
did you win or lose this
something
game?
along. I won this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that looks like a good build to me overall.
Now,
I
obviously,
usually
you see, I
try
did
not to
not
go
go Ag.
Lance before Manta unless I absolutely have to, because I think Manta's like way too good.
Yep.
That's my only thought about that. Like, if I have to, I will, but most of the time I try to avoid that. But, like, that's the type of build I like to see. I'm curious about, in your losses, why you're not going this build. Like, why do I not see
Um,
those items in your losses, basically?
I do.
Okay? I would like
Let's
to
see
see a
here.
loss with those items. Not that one. That one's pretty ugly. I mean, we can
Uh,
watch it for a
yeah.
bit if you'd like, but...
Let's see a loss here with these items. This one was another weird build. What is this one? Yeah, this is one where I did the same thing. Lance, then I went crit for damage, then BKB, and we lost. So why don't we start here?
Okay, that looks like the best one to watch. And, yeah. I will tell you that preemptively, you know, I can't say for sure, but based on what you told me, I think a very common thing that people do when they're getting really chaotic games and losing in the ways that you were describing earlier, the majority of us try to come up with ways to change to fix it when it's more requiring us to be more, like, rather than be more dynamic, it's requiring us to be more stable. Meaning, like, just build the same items every game rather than trying to get too creative to solve all of the problems in your games. Because that's what it
Yep.
felt like looking at that Timber game. Like, I'm going to buy a Silver Edge and magic damage for this guy. Like, it makes sense on paper, but that's not how Dota works. I know it makes
Right.
sense, but it's... So I do want to just let you know that when you're saying, like, oh, there's another creative item build, this could be a huge problem for you. Like, meaning, like, it could be causing you to lose these games. I can't say for sure, but I can tell you I've seen this before. I've done it myself. You can stop streaming on Discord if you'd like. But I've seen it before myself, and it's just something to keep in mind. I'll just say,
Yeah.
I'm going to give you this question in your notes here. This is the question I want you to ask yourself, because I think it... Let me know if there's another way you'd like to ask this. How do I ask this question? Have my games been more, or how chaotic, unpredictable, what's another word for this? All over the place. Any word that resonates with you and similar to that? This guy also looks like he's smurfing.
Those
Okay.
I guess I get when we are losing, it feels like, and this is not their fault, right? I'm not blaming them for this. It feels like my other 4 teammates are like losing the battle, and I don't know how to help them. Like, I feel like if I show up and fight, then I die before I'm ready. If I'm going behind them and I like taking tier 1s and farming, then they just slowly lose more. So by the time the high ground comes and I'm ready to fight, their net worth is so low that like it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know how to help them. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I mean, what if the answer is you don't?
Right.
That's the one answer. I'm not saying it's the right answer, but that's the one thing I don't hear you considering when you talk to me about it. You're against Fudge Invoker. Okay. So I actually, I'm gonna keep watching. Okay. I feel like we talked about this last time, but I want you to know the range creep has died off my screen 3 times.
I did try to beam it there. I just wasn't
that one you tried to beam it, but this one so right here I would walk forward to get here to be in range of this getting denied because I see what they're doing.
Yeah.
So that's like one example. You can't get the creep, but I would be there so I don't miss the XP entirely. And then this one, you'd go for the beam, which is fine. Go ahead.
In this lane, I believe my ogre has learning curve. So like if it's not in beam range in a position where I'm like safe or I move like maybe a couple 200 units, you know what I mean, to do it, I kind of view it as like just risking death.
It's a lot of experience to be missing. I'm just telling you, if you're getting 0 experience for range creeps and you're not getting any denies in return, that's just really bad for your lane. It's like really bad. So it's either getting your own denies and dragging to your range, or you just have to get an XP range of that. Like, I'm just telling you, when I see this, I understand what you're saying, but let me rewind. Maybe let's play this out for a second. I'm gonna like look at how I would approach this situation exactly. So, okay, so you pulled into the tower a little bit. He's holding it outside of tower. So what I would do here is I would aggro these creeps forward to here. Like, I would A-click the invoker so that these creeps move forward, which moves my creep wave closer because I see this. And so that's going to allow me to walk forward a little bit more. Like, I'm either denying a creep here or I'm moving myself closer. Like, I just can't let him get a full deny. Like, that's 2 denied range creeps, right? Because I get 0 XP. So what I would do here is walk forward and aggro to him. So, like, all I'm saying is, like, those are the 2 choices, and there's always going to be something you can do. Like, always. I don't want to say always. 98% of the time. There's something you can do. So that was one example. Ogre is kind of being useless because he's got learning curve or whatever. You go for the beam there, that's fine. So, interestingly enough, Like, I'm wondering why you're attacking these creeps.
At that point, it's hard to remember my thought process, but I probably was thinking something along the lines of like, there's so many creeps that I might as well just kind of shove this as far forward as I can.
What I see is you're level 2, Pudge is level 1. He doesn't dare walk up to get this range creep. That's a free deny.
Yep.
And instead
So
of
I
getting the...
I screwed myself by doing this.
Yeah, what I'm trying to show is that these range creep denies in CS are actually fucking your lane. like, I don't like to just say like, man, this one problem is really bad. But like, I'm trying to emphasize as somebody who's experienced this, that these range creep CS and denies, you have to give them more attention. Like, it's a huge problem. It's a huge problem. So like laning centric focus is range creep, CSing and denying. Just like Invoker getting that CS when they're level 1 and you're level 2 with 5 creeps is like inexcusable. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just, he should never get that CS.
Okay.
Is what I mean by this. Because you were in control of the lane. Even though the lane's pushing, I would rather you think, okay, how about laning centric focus? Instead of what is the lane doing, like pushing or pushing into me, who controls what areas? That person should be getting CS in that area and denies in that area. So what I would want you to be able to do is say, you tell me here that they control this area right here. Like, you're level 2, they're level 1, and you're telling me he controls this. If you think that's the case, we'll have a talk. But if he doesn't control this, you need to get the deny. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. We don't want to overcomplicate this because a lot of your laning mechanics are fine, but these range creeps are pretty egregious. Okay, so we kill the sentry.
I wanted to hit the pool because he hadn't
Yeah,
unblocked our
that makes
camp
sense.
yet.
So one thing I'm never going to do in this lane is take a second point and beam. That's the last thing I do. Against Pudge, with nobody helping me, I would always go boots. Because the one thing that's going to kill me is him hooking me. So I just have to have boots.
Right.
So I don't take that second point and beam.
I got frustrated with him because I pinged that I wanted to pull the big camp so they could pull, and he pulled anyway. I was like, dude, we could have avoided this if you would just listened to me.
I mean, what I see is you walking into a Pudge and getting hooked.
Yeah.
The thing is I understand your perspective. It's really easy for us. Like, I don't disagree that, like, we could have pulled large camp instead. But what matters is the reality that we're in, that we adjust to it. A lot of us spend too much time thinking about what we wanted this guy to do. We dwell on what we wished he had done. And then we play in a way that gets us fucked. Like in this case, you lose control of you lose perspective of your positioning for like 2 seconds. And then you get hooked and you die again. So it's just, I would encourage you to ask yourself the question, like, how do I even word this? How often are you thinking about what should have happened rather than what is happening? Because I have been a huge culprit of this. Like, I had this really bad when I was in professional teams. And I think it was one of the reasons that I wasn't the best teammate. Is because when we would go over the games afterwards, I'd be talking about how lanes should have gone at minute 9. And I'm sure my team was wondering, like, can we just talk about how we wanted to play from this situation? Like, rather than how we shouldn't be in this situation. Do you see what I mean?
Right. Yes.
Yeah, so I think it's really... I think it's really common, especially for carry players, because we kind of have this like theoretical perfect start that we can have, and we know when we get that start, our farm like skyrockets, and we have this like, oh, 900 GPM, you know, it's like sick. And then when like somebody else does something that like makes it hard for us to get that start that we want, then we feel it for the rest of the game. Do you know what I mean? It's like at 12 minutes, I know I have less items because he pulled that hard camp or the small camp.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we just can't think this way because it doesn't help us win. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
if we think this way, it just doesn't help us win. At the end of the day, it's not a matter of is it objectively correct or not that he pulled the small camp. What matters is us thinking about the fact that he shouldn't have pulled the small camp is making us more likely to lose this game.
Right.
And so that's does that distinction kind of make sense?
Yes.
Cool. Everyone does it. For me, the only thing I've done to fix it is just draw attention to it. I'm like, Brian, I've reasoned it out. That doesn't help you fucking win. So I understand why it's frustrating, but doesn't help me win. So that we just kind of have to accept it, sadly. I like the ogre man fighting to the death.
Yeah, it was a very weird choice.
But I will tell you, because you mentioned it in your document from the first session back in December, is your ability to play the map is going to matter a fraction if your first 5 minutes are this sloppy. Like, with 2 extra deaths, because you went Band of Elven Skin instead of Boots, and then you took you went for an aggressive play up, like you got caught out of position from a hook. Like, if those range creeps go slightly different, and you have 1 of these deaths instead of 2, this game is very different. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a very different game. And it's not a matter of what should have happened. What I'm just trying to say is that perhaps we fixed your mid game, but now your laning stage has just been on average not serving you, you know? Because on Jug, one thing about Jug that if you think about all my early heroes I loved playing, Jug, Ursa, Slark, PL, they all have...
They just win lane.
They win the lane, and they're very survivable. Like, they don't die. Yes. You know what I mean? So, like...
That was my favorite thing about Jug and why I played him so much is because like it was very hard to lose the lane, and his attack speed just allowed me to deny creeps that I would not be able to deny on other heroes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so what I want to say is this. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with this. I mean, we're probably very similar carry players. You're kind of at your carry player stage from where I was about a decade ago, where like all I played was Jug and Ursa and Slark. That was literally all I played. And so what happened was my map awareness wasn't very good at the time because these heroes don't have to look around the map as much, right? Because you can afford to lose track of people and just spin away. But that doesn't work on like SFs and Lunas and Drows, you know, like it just doesn't work. And then, so what I'm thinking for you, or what I'm thinking right now, is that we could continue watching this game because I know I just talked about like not dealing with the theoreticals or whatever, but what I'm saying is that like I would want to spend a lot of attention on your follow-up replay, and maybe instead of sending me a replay individually, maybe you send me 3 laning stages. You know?
Okay.
Where I watched that first 5 to 10 minutes. And I'm going to watch we can watch maybe another game where your lane went a bit better so I can see your movements in that. But I really do believe the situation you're in here should be like 10% of your games. You know, like, or less. So it's a matter of, we could talk about this, but I also think that by doing this, your chance of solo carrying the game goes way down. Like, way down. And the reason that I was able to have such high impact in that Smurf lobby, for instance, is because I'm winning my lane. If I lost my lane and my Invoker's losing his tower, we're kind of fucked. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's not as simple as just win your fucking lane. But there are the range creeps and the... honestly, the thought about what your support should be doing, those alone will have like a massive impact on your laning stage. And I don't want to overcomplicate it because I think those are your two, like one is a mechanical thing and one is a mindset thing. And I think if we can work on one at a time and then have that be the focus of the replay when you send it back. My question is, do you want to watch the rest of this game, or is there maybe a better mid game we should watch? What would you like to do from here to make the best use of our next like 30 minutes?
I don't know what the correct answer is.
I'll ask you how
I
you're
mean,
feeling about what I'm saying so far. Good, bad, helpful, not helpful. Is it landing? Does it feel like it's not registered? Like, does this feel like it describes your games, or am I not landing yet? It's fine if I'm not. I just need to know where we're at, basically.
I do feel like I am struggling in lanes. I do feel like my games are a bit chaotic right now. I do feel like I should win some of these games regardless because of how I'm able to recover in the mid game.
Okay.
So I don't know that like missing 3 range creeps is resulting in a loss of the game. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I'm
Like
talking about
am I losing the lane?
For me, it's 3 range creeps, 2 deaths, and jungling at level 3.
Right, right.
For me, that's a lot. You know what I mean? It's not
Okay.
like just the
Yes.
range creeps, but I'm saying like these combined factors that are booting you out of lane at level 3 with 2 points beam. Like for me,
Right.
that's a big deal. I don't want to just say you're losing games because of range creeps. But what I'm saying is like the point is whatever you do in the first 5 minutes, the mistakes compound really fast, right? Because instead of laning at level 5, pushing the wave and jungling there, and suddenly you're level 8 at minute 11, you're like level 3 jungling at minute 6. And like I'm talking about the best possible case scenario and the worst possible case scenario. And I'm not expecting you to be in the best possible case scenario, but it is quite possible to be chilling with treads level 5 jungling in like 90% of your games, like 95%.
Yeah.
And that's just what I want to make sure. I don't know what's happening in the rest of your games. Is this sort of thing happening a lot, or is this like the worst case scenario that you've had in the last, however long?
This particular lane might have been like, you know, one of like 3 to 5 worst case scenarios.
Okay.
I do have lanes where like it's more of like a break even, and I exit when I have Mask of Madness, regardless of whether I feel I have lost the lane or not. I just feel like I will farm faster, being unhindered by the activities of the game somewhere else.
Okay. So, so I kind of interrupted you there. I want to make sure we were on the same. So I asked you how we were doing in the session, and you said, you don't think you're losing because of the range creeps and stuff. So I just wanted to say that for me, the impact is when you're jungling and stuff. So is this a common reason you end up losing your games, or would you say no? Like you just said, it's kind of, like most games, you kind of get off to the start you want.
I feel like I want to say probably about 50% of my games I would lose because I have a bad start, and having a bad start on, as a carry can be like make the game infinitely harder. So like I'll be generous and say it's probably about 50%. I'd say the other 50% is probably like mid-game decision making. Um, do I show up to this fight and um, you know, help in some way? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I understand it's weird because like I understand that I should be looking at a fight and seeing like, oh, did a black hole go off? Did Cataclysm go? Did Invoker cast Meteor? Is Troll's ult down? Right? I should be looking for those things, but like I can't do it fast enough. And when I do see those spells go off, I still can like find it difficult to gauge like whether I should be going to this fight or not. Because like sometimes like, oh, I'll like say I see Troll's ult go off, I'm like, oh, he's killable now, I should show up. But then by the time my TB ends, like my whole team's dead. So it's like, well, I just wasted my time and theirs, I don't know if that made any sense.
It does.
I
What?
Actually, I think a more accurate representation of my losses are, let's say, 30%, 33% lane, 33% mid game bad decisions, and then the other 33% I probably couldn't tell you why I lost. I
I
don't
see.
have the knowledge to look at the game and be like, this is exactly why you lost.
Okay.
Here is when all hope went out the window.
Okay. I understand. I mean, I think I understand at least enough. So the part for me that really registered out of what you were saying was talking about showing up to fights and stuff. Where you're like talking about checking people's exact ults and if they're killable and all this kind of stuff. For me, all I want you to see is that your tower bottom has 9 creeps on it and it's dying.
Yeah.
That's all I
And I
want you
don't
to
have a
see.
CP.
So there's kind of two types of this problem. There's two extremes, and almost everybody I coach has one or the other extreme because it's really hard to balance things. It's really hard to have the right balance. The two extremes that I'm talking about are people that are so purely on autopilot that I ask them what they're thinking and they tell me nothing. Like, they're just like, I don't know why I did that. And then there's people like you that are on the other end where I kind of ask you what you're thinking, and instead it's like 20 things. And all I want is the one thing that matters. It's not easy
Right.
to identify that one thing that matters, but all I want is the one thing that matters. And so I hear your guys' thought process, and my first thought is, that sounds pretty exhausting to be thinking all of that stuff. And it's not that I want you to think less, but what I want to show you is that for clarity to occur, you're never going to have clarity if your brain's thinking about that many things, is what I'm trying to say. And maybe I
Mhm.
didn't land that with the right message, but what I'm thinking about, I had the coaching session with Jenkins a while back. Did you ever see that? It was like 2 months ago.
I did, yes.
So in that
Yeah, I
session,
did.
we talked about the signal and the noise, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
So for me, what I want, here's what I'm thinking. For me, the signal is I want to see every range creep on my screen. I want to buy the component of treads that makes the most sense in that given lane, whether it's 6 damage, whether it's attack speed, or whether it's boots. I want to position myself in lane according to the end, making sure that I, like, at all times ask myself, was that good positioning? Why did I mess up there? I want to have a general gauge of how my other lanes did. I don't need to know exactly what spells are casted and all that kind of stuff. Maybe even just like an 8-minute check of the scoreboard and see that my mid laner's down by 2 levels or up by 2 levels or that it's even or whatever. Like just some gauge of what's like the tempo of the game. And then what I want on top of that is that my job in the early to mid game, which is like 8 to 20 minutes, is that I clear waves whenever I can. Like, because on every carry you're farming, and the jungle is usually the safest farm. But the question I would ask myself in terms of the signal of the game is how many waves did I not farm when I could have? And these things add up a shit ton. I just can't tell you how much they add up. Like the waves not being cleared. Like how much MMR is it costing you if every game you never TP bottom here versus TPing bottom here? It's hard to quantify, but it's a lot. Right? It's a
Yeah.
lot that there's this many creeps, 7 to be exact. So instead of while Puck is dead in a fight going on mid, you're farming 7 creeps, then the next creep wave, and then one of them has to TP bottom, and now you're farming like this, which creates space for your team and gives you more farm. But instead, where this tower is gonna die to like a catapult, basically. And then
Yeah.
your Mars with no HP, like now your team's getting bullied over here. Like they're getting ran at over here and stuff. And then there's pressure on this lane too, and this tower's dying. Like that's your role in the game. Is this stuff. It's not even knowing what fights to show up to. It's this stuff. So I'm going to pause. I heard all of the things that you said that are going on in your brain. And I'm not in your brain, right? I don't know exactly what's happening. But for me, what I think the way we get success here is to help you, like have you help me help you understand what's getting in the way of that signal. What is the noise? What is the problem here? Do you know what I mean? I don't know what the noise is. Not an
I
easy
guess
question.
the noise in this game would have been me just trying to execute like what I view as so this area that I've been in the map, and then the flip side, right, near the other tower is kind of like I watched a video. I think it might have been you actually from a while ago, where it was like the highest value area in the map.
Okay.
So I was just staying there near this tower, trying to execute that farming pattern and trying to catch up as quickly as possible. To be honest with you, I'm like watching this replay with you. I have no idea why I have not carried a TP with me for so long, and it's kind of embarrassing actually. But I think the reason that because I remember looking in this game and looking at my TP and seeing it empty and being like, I don't actually want to be there anyway. I don't want to be bothered. So like the extra 100 gold would just slow me down. And obviously that's like a wrong thought, like that's what, like 500 gold I just gave up, you know what I mean, for the
Yeah.
cost of 100. So like that was probably the noise. The noise is that I'm safe up here. This is highly efficient farm. And yeah.
Okay. That's a good answer. Give me a second. I'm just kind of typing up notes here. So, one second. Okay. It's really interesting, actually, because I've received all types of different reasons why people farm certain areas of the map, okay? Like, people... How do I word this? It's really important that we don't play favorites with anywhere on the map. I've had people that talk about trying to open up the enemy safe lane tower, so I see them farming their ancients a lot because they're trying, like, if you're dire, they're like farming here a lot because they're like, I'm looking for an opportunity to kill this tower. And in my head, I'm just like thinking, that's not how you decide your farm. Like, that's, you said yourself, like, that's like a wrong thought or whatever. There's like, I've seen 5 to 10 different examples of people having like biases towards specific parts of the map. And I just want to draw to your attention, you and everyone watching, that just doesn't exist. Like, we can't do that. Like, it's really bad. We don't want to have any limitations to where we can go on the map. The last thing we want to do is have a bias that is preventing us from being open-minded that this map is fucking huge. Like, it is huge. There are so many different places, given the scenario in the game, that can vary in optimization. So my thought is, my noise that I put on your document is you are so hyper-focused on efficiency that you're not being efficient.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? How that plays out that way?
Yes.
So the main thing, so for me, there's a lot of shit going on in your games, in your brain. I want to lay this out for you. So the way that I view Luna is you can put 2 points beam if you would like, if you're winning your lane, specifically. If you're winning your lane, you can put 2 points beam. If you're not winning your lane, I usually go 1-4-4 or 1-2-4 back into 2-2-4 ult so I can maybe team fight. But your W is really good for farming ancients. It's like really good for it. And it also helps save you HP, especially like early on. You don't have to like kite camps as much and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So in the past, Dragonlance helped Luna a lot because she didn't have her W. Like it was back when Glaives was her W. And so Dragonlance was really important because you could kite jungle camps better. It would save you a lot of health, like a lot of health, in order to farm ancients and stuff. But nowadays, I think Dragonlance is a massive exception. Like, I don't buy it, like, hardly ever. Like, I don't want to buy it. So, for me, the signal is Treads, Mask of Madness, Manta, bare minimum. Like, that is what I go 96% of games. And my skill build will vary drastically based on how much I'm jungling. So, what was interesting was you were jungling at level 3, and then when I fast forward, you have 304 and a point in your ult. Like, I would have loved to see, oh shit, you know, maybe that second point in beam was bad. I'm 244 now. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm jungling. That's what I'm doing. And then I would love to see that when team fights go on, what I put on your document, which is the signal, is clearing waves whenever possible. And this goes way up when a fight is happening on the map. Because you have more information, people on the enemy team have TP'd places, and they're also spending a lot of resources that they can't use to kill you, right? So when you see team fights going on, if there's one thing out of this session that I want you to take is that there better not be, in any replay you send me, a team fight between minute 8 and 20 with a wave to be cleared and you're jungling. I don't care if you go to the fight. I don't fucking care. Like, that's actually level 2 of team fight decision making. Because a lot of the stuff you were talking to me about is like level 2 or 3 of team fight decision making. I think level 1 is clearing waves that are free to clear. That's level 1. And you need to do level 1 first because that's how you set up the map to be successful, and that's how fights look good for you. Because if you're not doing that, then the fights are going to feel bad anyway. Like, I'll just tell you, they're not going to feel good to go to. If you're not doing
you're gonna, even
one.
if you win a fight, you know, you just have to split and fix the waves, and you get nothing for it, and it's just wasting your time.
So yeah, exactly. So rather than all of the, because you said a lot of stuff, and I might have overburdened you last month, like because I talked about map awareness and stuff. So I might have actually caused this, like by trying to force you to look around a lot more.
It's funny because last month when I was like losing, I was having a big problem with like getting ganked and like dying. But like I haven't had that problem this month. You know what I mean? Like that has stopped.
Okay. I wouldn't doubt that your awareness has gone up. I wouldn't doubt that your overall awareness has gone up, but what I'm seeing here is potentially playing too safe. And if you're playing too safe, then what your team will feel the burden of that, and you will very often run into you, 3 other cores, and then your team in terms of the net worth. Like, you will run into that a lot more often. Like that, it's like Luna is a hero that kind of does that, but that's a symptom of playing too passive if it happens across most of your games. You know what I mean? Like, it'll happen sometimes, but like if it's happening in a majority of your games, that's like a symptom of you playing too passive. And this is an example of what I mean by passive. I'm not talking about going to fights. I'm talking about not clearing that bottom wave, right? And so you talked about all this stuff with like awareness of spells and all that. My goal for you this month, let's like keep it simple, because I think the complicated shit you've got down better, but we need to make sure we get the signal. The signal is, I see team fight on map, yes or no? Like, yes or no? Just to check. And when there's a team fight, I now need to check the lanes, and if there's one I think I can go to. And I just need to not miss them. That's like the biggest thing.
Okay.
It'll have massive impact for you, because that's going to, like, what happens is, that's why we move, is because of fights going on the map and how they affect us. But what I've noticed when I have people that have biases, which is actually all of you, that have biases towards like specific parts of the map, it prevents you from moving. Like, that's what happens, is you guys like don't move because you think this part of the map is better. And I'm like, I get that this part of the map on average is better. Like, I get that. But it's not better at every moment, and that rigidity is going to hurt you in the long run. We want you to get more gold, and the more gold comes from opening up the map, not by hitting creeps faster. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's all about space on the map. So when the enemy gives you that space, we have to take it.
Okay.
That's the big emphasis. So I put in your notes that the noise is the hyper focus on efficiency and playing for the efficiency part of the map. And so my signal that I wanted for you is range creeps, correct component of treads, always carrying a TP, because you talked about like what your thought was there, but it never outweighs it, I promise you, to like save that gold. And clearing waves whenever possible when a team fight happens. That for me is your signal that we need to see, and you need to be like, I'm going to watch my games back and be like, I did those things, or I didn't do those things. And you can tell me all about this fucking lion that does crazy shit, because I believe this crazy shit's happening in your games. But the problem is,
I just want. Can I show you this real quick?
Yeah, you know what? For entertainment's sake, send me the ID. I'll look at it. This is
just for the laughs.
This is for everyone's entertainment, for sure. We can do it. Because I believe you, crazy shit's happening in your games. The problem is when we get, when we get caught up in the sauce. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Or lost in the sauce. I couldn't remember the fucking phrase.
I have to find it. Hold on. Yeah, right here. All right. Where is chat? All right, I have pasted it in chat.
Okay, in your chat. What minute mark? What are we going to? Just very end? Like
just at the very end of the game. So we push top lane.
I'm fast forwarding. We'll find it.
Right? And this wave goes in.
And Lion's just killing your base with.
Yep, this is
you get your base.
I think that was my TP, and I get hooked. So I have to stand and fight these guys. And Lion just wins the game. Nobody else even tried to TP back. Oh, I lied. People did try. Too late.
Yeah, they tried after he's hitting your base for about a minute. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
It was really depressing because we were getting cheesed by this lion super hard, and yeah.
That's pretty funny. I mean, sorry, but it is kind of funny. Yeah, I mean, my thought for you, as you know, we are at about about the hour mark, but we're happy to have a little discussion for a bit if there's things that are not clear. My thought for you, from everything you've been saying to me today, is that there's a lot of random shit happening in your games. And when I'm looking at what you're doing, my question is what you're doing makes sense to what is happening in the game? That's what I always ask myself when I'm watching other people. So for me, it's like if you're trying to jungle and play for efficiency, but then you have 404 skill build or 304 skill build on Luna, that's like an example of like it doesn't match. If you're trying to play for proper map movements and you never have a TP on you, does that match? If you're trying to outscale and get gold as a carry, Luna just goes Manta. Like that's her item, Mask of Madness Manta. If unless there's a specific reason that you can't afford to go Manta this game, which would need to be a pretty huge exception. It's kind of like honestly, Luna not going Manta second item for me is like Anti-Mage not going Battle Fury. There has to be like a very specific reason that he needs like a Vanguard in lane or something. That he would delay his Battle Fury. Same with Luna. You go Mask of Madness into Manta. I've even gone Manta into Mask of Madness sometimes, depending on how important the Dispel from Manta is. So like for me, that's the signal. And a lot of people who are in your situation, I try to help them replicate their hero's impact in the game through all of the bullshit, right? And so the way to do that with farming comes down to catching our biases towards certain part of the maps, because replicating it does not mean farming the same area of the map efficiently. It means adjusting to the bullshit in the game. Oh, like they're pushing 4 mid, I should TP bottom now. Oh, they're like running at me as 4, I'm gonna jungle purely because they keep running at me. Or whatever. It's like the adjustment that gets made. And so it's weird because we have to be stable while making a bunch of adjustments. So it's like kind of an oxymoron there. But, when we make adjustments, it just have to make sense. So you can say my default is to play safe lane with these 2 camps. That makes sense. That's my default. But every time there's a reason in the game to move, that's an exception. And we need to use those exceptions. We can't just play within the thing that's our default all game. And we want your default to be Treads, Mask of Madness, Manta. And if you're not doing that, then we would need a very specific exception to this rule. And so for me, it's like I've gone Mask of Madness, Manta, like either Scotty or Butterfly or BKB after that. I went Hurricane Pike once, but it was like, I think it was against like Razor or maybe Tusk. I think their main way of killing me was Tusk, and I love Hurricane Pike against Tusk because you get out of shards and stuff. But usually my second item after Manta is a way that, like, so it's Mask of Madness so I can jungle. It's Manta so I can expand my farm on the map because I can clear waves now that are dangerous for me. And I now need an item that makes me survivable. I just need something, whether it's Hurricane Pike, BKB, Butterfly, Scotty, one of these. And then I pretty much always end up with a Butterfly, Satanic, and a BKB in my inventory, and usually a Swift Blink Daedalus to end it off. But that's like what ends up in my inventory eventually.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that's the signal. Go ahead.
So it was like a week and a half ago or maybe 2 weeks ago now. I played, it might have been Jug into a Luna, and the absolute beatdown that she gave us, like it was wild because we would kill her and then it wouldn't even matter. She'd just come back and fight anyway and like kill people. And so I watched the replay back and watched what she did, and I'm like, all right, what are the items? And he went Dragonlance, Manta, Pike, Crit, right? And he just fought. And I was like, all right, if it's working for him, then I can make it work for me. And that's why I started that build over the last 2 weeks or so.
I see. That makes sense. I can see that. Like you got owned by it, so like that's literally how top level players think too. Like we got owned by something and we try to replicate it. I think it's very dangerous to replicate things that we don't understand why it works. Like for me, hmm. Yeah, it's just very dangerous because like I don't have the good sense that you didn't give me a reason why you thought it worked. You just said it owned me, so I do it now. Maybe you just didn't explain it and you have the reason. Um,
So
Go ahead.
after playing it, I a few times, even in the losses, it really felt like having another save button was super helpful. Like having Satanic, Manta, and Pike like really was nice in being able to get off my damage in a sustained fashion. You
That's
know,
fair.
like someone walks up to me, I pike, I get a spell cast on me I don't want, I dispel it. If I want to just stand there and right click, I hit Satanic.
If you
These are
like Mask of Madness Manta into Pike, I'm fine with that. Like if that's your preferred build, that's a comfort zone and that helps you like meet the signal and it gives you like that for me is not a big enough like Pike is a fine item on Luna. It's fine. Like for me it's not like a bad item. I just think delaying the Manta is not worth it. But if you want to stick to that Pike build cuz I agree, like it is really nice especially as a jug player to have an answer to things because that's kind of what Jug's kit does. If you have a Manta on Jug, you have an answer to pretty much everything because you have a Dispel and you have a BKB. So you got everything covered. And so I think that can be a bit of a crutch. It can be a bit, but I can see your reasoning for Luna, and it's definitely a fine item build. I just don't want you to delay the Manta.
don't delay the Manta, bare
Yeah.
minimum. Got
Yeah,
it.
but if you want the Pike afterwards, that give you that Pike Satanic Manta option, like you just said, that makes a lot of sense to me. And it sounds like, for me, when you say that, I'm like, I see very clearly why he likes that. And that's the number one thing that matters to me when I coach people is do they understand why they're doing what they're doing? And I can see, based on you playing a lot of Jug and then you just giving me that explanation, I can see why that would work for you. So that makes sense. And I don't want to take people out of their comfort zone. It's just the Manta first that I think is really big, kind of a non
Okay.
negotiable. So waves, big deal. We don't want to. It's not a matter of, every little thing being like that range creep at 2 minutes. But like you said, it sounded like a third of your games approximately that you lose. You said your lanes go a bit worse than they should, or a lot worse in that particular game we watched. So I just for that one, I just want to one time remind is it's really easy to get caught in this trap of what your support should be doing and how much they ruined your lane because it does happen and it happens both ways and it sucks. But I just want to draw your attention that I'm gonna be holding you accountable for what I see you do. So it's like I get that it's frustrating your support pulled to small, but if you walk in and get hooked, that's what I see. That's what I'm gonna see when I watch your game. If I see things that are happening to you that are like from your support that aren't ideal, and you're adjusting as best you can, and I can tell, like I'm gonna be very impressed and I'm gonna be happy with it. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be I'm not gonna be like, this guy's being inefficient. It's like, it's just like, I feel like I have enough knowledge of carry to be like, yeah, I can tell your support's not doing the best job. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So I just want you to know that like that's how I hold you guys accountable, and it would be my dream for you guys to hold yourself accountable, that way as well. So that's what I'm gonna be looking for in your replay. And then I'm gonna just be checking out your mid game for the sake of, yeah, we talked about the item build, but I'm gonna see what happens. I have a feeling if you get yourself to the late game, you'll get there. I have a feeling that meaning you'll finish off more games than you don't, not counting the Lion game. But in general, I do think your mid game and early game do need a lot of clearing of the noise, and I think that's what
Okay.
we can do.
Okay.
Do you have any final questions about how to make this actionable, or what I'm expecting from you, or implementing?
No. I would just like to say that I am one of the people who's like very interested in laning drills. I know that we've tried it a couple times in the dojo and it never seems to like quite come to fruition.
Yeah,
Because like I recognize that have like I have a tendency to, you know, tunnel vision and not see the range creep.
Yeah.
You know, like I do know that I need to work on it. And I like even one time I tried to like put together my own makeshift, like who wants to do lane drills, who wants to do 2v2s and just run it back over and over. And it didn't kind of work out. So like
Okay.
if in the future, just to put it in your head that like, hey, I have interest in this and I recognize that it will help me.
Hey, I appreciate you mentioning that. I'm not making any promises because I have a habit of like knowing that's a good idea and trying to tell people I can promise it. We were running into a bit of I guess you can call it a staffing issue, you know, just not having enough people to organize time and too many things to balance. I very much intend that to be a part of our server. And I just, you know, our motto that we have with the people that are building it is this is the worst it's ever going to be. I appreciate that
Yep.
you mentioned that, and I 100% want to get that in there as soon as possible because I see the value of it too. The thing that matters is we get something that's sustainable and repeatable, and we have a system, and that's what we're struggling to create because it's like doing it a one-off is not going to make a difference. But if we get like a laning drill night of the week, for instance, you know, where people show up for 45 minutes and just lane against each other. Like right now, we've been building the game nights for the last like 2 or 3 months, and we're finally kind of getting the rhythm for those. I'm just telling you that that's the process, and I hope to do you proud by that. And I love that you're telling me that that would help you and that you want to do that because that also takes initiative, and I appreciate that you're trying to make that happen. So I don't want to make that for naught, and I appreciate you mentioning it, and I'll do my best. But I don't want to make any promises of the delivery date of that, because that's what
Yeah.
I did is I promised it or I said I would do it, and then shit has come up. So it's on the pipeline, and I appreciate you mentioning it. Is there any other final questions or thoughts?
No.
Sweet, man. Then yeah, last time you sent me a replay like a day or two after. Let's give yourself like a solid week or two before you like give yourself that time to grind these things out. And I look forward to
Yep.
seeing what you come up, what you deliver me back. So
Okay.
awesome,
Thank
man.
you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. See you later.
Later.
Yeah, it's very dangerous to like copy a build from a guy that did it one time. It's not that it's wrong. It's just it's dangerous because things are situational, and we have to be careful of like taking something that's situational that worked this one time to apply it across a massive sample size. You know, we have to be careful of that. But yeah, guys, pretty late day for me, so I am gonna be going to bed, or not bed, but getting ready for bed. And oh shit, wait, no, I have my fucking team coaching session today. What am I fucking talking about? We have a team coaching session. What did I almost forget? I almost forgot. I literally checked my calendar and I have a fucking team coaching session. Totally forgot. We're not going anywhere. I'll be right back, guys. We're gonna be streaming a team coaching session in 2 minutes. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Okay. Well, ignore what I said, guys. We got a session. Yeah, it's been a hectic week. Let's go. We got an entire team that we're coaching here, guys. Oh. Hello?
Yo.
Hey, hello.
I believe VRN is echoing, so just be careful about that. But welcome, guys. How's everyone doing?
Hey, pretty good.
Pretty
How
good.
are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. So, you know, Clockwork, I believe, was the one that added me. Will.
Yep.
I've been in contact with him. He gave me a bit of a lowdown on your guys' situation, but I'd love to hear from you guys. You know what your goal for today's session we have, and how I can best help you guys.
Yeah, sure. So basically, we play in like a weekly amateur league, AD2L, every day on Thursdays. We're in like the Legend slash Ancient division, and we've been doing this for a couple seasons. And it's just a couple things we want to get better at doing. One, I think, is sort of how to attack like a captain's mode draft with like sort of a plan, and how to create like team comps that synergize and work together rather than just like picking what people want. And on top of that, sort of like more like macro gameplay ideas. Like in the first replay I sent you on the offlaner, we had a really, really, really bad offlane. And it's like beyond just like what I could do individually as a player to make the offlane go better, it's like what else can the rest of the team do to sort of help out in areas like that? And sort of just other macro gameplay ideas too, I guess, like map movements, when you smoke gank is 5, when you know, go high ground, when you don't go high ground, stuff like that.
Okay. So we've got 3 sessions lined up. The next 3 Sundays. I'm just in my head. I'm thinking
Also, like a team. We're still trying to figure out like where we're at with drafts, and it's oh wow, what the fuck?
What happened?
Sorry, I think I just like my internet like spiked. I just think we don't really have a clear idea of like how we want to like play the map during some points of time. Like nobody's like quite sure with that. And I think like with drafts and stuff, like we're just trying to figure out like what works for us and what doesn't. And yeah, that's it.
How long have you guys been playing together? The 5 of you?
So the 4 of us, everyone but Vern, we've been playing together for about a year, and then we picked
Okay.
up Vern for this season.
Okay. So you guys have had a pretty good amount of time together overall. So
Yeah.
that's important. But yeah, so as I was saying, we have 3 sessions lined up. I don't think we can answer all of those questions in one session, of course. So my question is like I think we can get to all of those over time. And I'm just thinking that where do we want to start? Do we want to start with the foundation of the draft? Do we want to start with observing the draft you have at hand and what you're doing to work with it? Like, do we want to fast forward into the late game decision making and talk about your macro gameplay? Like, where do we want to start? Like, I would lean towards the drafts themselves, but I'm fine with wherever you guys feel like would best be to approach this.
I think in our bracket, winning the draft gives you a very high chance of winning the game. So I think that's probably a great spot to start. And then we go from there, kind of a thing. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Yep, that makes sense.
Okay, we got a little assignment then. Can you guys please each type your position number, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and your top 5 heroes? Like on the same line, please. Sorry. Yeah, you guys can like edit your message. So top 5 heroes for you guys. And if you only play 3, if you're like one of the supports and you just have like 3 best, make it a clear distinction between like, you have master tiers and not. But like our goal is, at the end of the day, I've learned that majority of players, even at the professional level, overestimate their hero pool. So we're keeping it to 5 for the moment. It's not like you guys have to limit yourself for all of eternity, but for the now, to simplify things, we're going to work with 5 each. Okay. So let's just do this because we've got several sessions here. So let's I could probably do this actually. I encourage you guys to do the same here for yourselves, but we're gonna take some time to organize this. It's really helpful in my experience to visualize. Maybe you already have something. But so carry is, are those in any particular order, or are they like they're just all good?
So I've been like spamming PL this patch, so it's like my most comfortable hero. I think Lifestealer and like Spec are like right behind there, and then Jug and AM are like my 2 most played heroes outside of that.
Gotcha. Okay. So our mid is Quap, Void Spirit, Monkey King. Brain's not working. Sniper Pango. Okay, and then our 3 is, sorry guys, we're just getting this set up. So Night Stalker, Mars, Tide. Why did it go over there? Tide, Axe, Enigma. And then Grandmaster Pudge. Oh god.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Venomancer, Hoodwink. Ogre. And you're practicing Shaman. We'll add him there just. And then 5. We got AA. We got Jakiro. We got Lich. A lot of end heroes here. I just need to, oh, that's Jakiro. Lich. Dazzle Warlock. Okay. Not the fanciest. Let me actually, this makes it easier. We're investing in the future here. Carry, mid, off lane. Okay. You guys may have already done something like this. Have you guys done anything like this before?
I can't see your screen if you're sharing something.
I'm an idiot.
It's all good, man.
Shared screen. Have you guys done anything like this before? Oops.
So I have like a hero grid set up for like the drafts for like the team. We have like, I guess, more heroes included in that, but I don't know. It's something similar, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have hero grids for all of us.
Okay. Just real quick, are we confirming that for all of you, this is your best 5? It's not that you can't play anything else, but this is your best 5.
I probably should have swapped out Snapfire. They've been having me play that a lot lately. This is the position 5 Ghost Ham.
But when you say swapped it out, are you saying it should be in there?
Yeah, in my top 5 over something else. I'm not sure what, but I've been playing a lot of Snap.
Okay, well, I will just add it. It's fine if you have 6. Anybody else want to?
Like I have.
Go ahead.
I'd say that like I have heroes outside of the 5. My Spectre is kind of iffy compared, but it's like the most that I've been playing.
Okay.
I'd probably add like SF to that, and let me just double check.
while he's looking at that, we can add for position 4 Marana if you want. I'm a grandmaster at it, but I just don't feel like she's super meta. But that works. Thanks.
Yeah.
Also have like TB up there as well.
Okay. Any other final additions here?
For 3, I would say Centaur and also Dawnbreaker.
Okay. Anything for mid? Not required at all. Okay. Sweet. So I think one of the first issues that teams have, and obviously I don't know you guys, so I don't know how much of these are your issues, so we're just going to kind of run through things and let me know what hits or identifies with you guys. So I think one of the biggest issues people have is they try to pick too many heroes. I know that seems like a simple answer, but it really is a serious problem. When you try to do too many pieces, what happens is it's much more important to know if you're going to open your draft with a Slardar offlane to know how that gets fucked, so that doesn't happen to you, right? It's much more important to do that than it is to like perfectly counter the opponent. So as long as you guys are comfortable in your heroes and we're preventing them from being useless, I know that sounds like, not very glamorous or whatever, but that's, in my opinion, how you win drafts. That's like the first step, because the only tiebreaker to that is when you're a tier 1 pro player and the exact hero matchups matter a lot. Now, the hero matchups will matter for you guys, but it's more important that we limit your hero pool than it is to get the perfect matchups, is what I'm saying. If you guys can, like, say, out of your heroes, it's the best Axe game out of all of them, we still want to pick Axe, of course. But that's just something I want to kind of lay down the groundwork. Is there any questions about anything I just said? I think it's pretty straightforward, but feel free to ask a question.
That makes sense.
Okay. So, I know they changed captain's mode since I've worked a tournament. So let's just I literally just need to see the draft layout. Is it gonna have a computer draft against me? Okay. I can pause, I think. Can I pause? I can't pause.
If you click on the right side of the screen, in the black area, you can then try an F9, or if you know the console command, you can F9.
I paused. There we go. Perfect. Thank you. You guys are experienced captain's drafters. Or captain's moders. So, there is a bit of a difference between first pick and second pick, as you guys very well know. Second pick, you have overall last pick in the draft. You have you have that second response pick. And for first pick, the big deal is that you have your first pick of the litter, but then they can immediately counter you. But then in the second round of the draft, that's where your advantage comes in, because you have 2 picks in a row that can have synergy and they can't block it. You could go IO Gyro there or something as an example, which you have that option before they do. And then that 18th pick is usually your most powerful when you're first pick. So I'm just rattling off things that I consider this is just part of my job. If these things are obvious to you guys, then great. If I'm saying something new and you have a question about it, interrupt me at any point. So the advantages for first pick are that you get to pick the most meta heroes at 8, and you get that 18 pick is usually where you win the draft. And second pick, it's usually that 9th pick can be really powerful because it's a response to the 8 pick directly. And the 24th pick can be really powerful because obviously they don't have anything they can do once you pick it. So those are my impressions of strengths and weaknesses of both sides. Do those match what you guys think? Have you thought about this before?
I'd say it's pretty in line.
Okay.
But yeah, I just started drafting for this team recently, so I don't know if there's something Clock or McRivy wants to.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we think about it too. I feel like we just sort of struggle with creating the comps themselves, if that makes sense.
Okay. So let's just like pull this up as an example. I know it's not the heroes in your grid, but this is the replay that you guys sent me. In your own words, like what went wrong here?
We first picked a Slardar, and it got hard countered in lane, and then just kind of snowballed from there.
So like for me, like when I was doing the draft, what I felt like our team was good at was like when we had a 4-man team that could like fight pretty well. So I think for the first draft, I really maxed that concept. But for this draft, I was like, well, let's see if we can pick the Slardar because it seems like strong in the meta. And then I think what ended up happening is we picked the Slardar first as like supposed to be like a swap pick for the mid or the off, depending. We basically got to the midpoint in the draft, and I forgot about like Drow as a hero. I picked Lifestealer on 18. I felt like I could just carry the game on it. And then the goal was to like pick Quap as the last pick to try and have like a ranged hero. But because like we realized like Drow is like a big issue for the draft, I just wanted to we didn't have like a clear pick to beat the Quap in lane. We just ended up going with the LC to like have a lockdown. But then we have like 3 melee cores, which isn't like amazing when you have like, or it didn't feel amazing when you have like the Quap that can kite you, the Drow that can play backline, and then the NS that can like disrupt your backline, and you don't have a way to like help your backline.
Okay, I got you. There's a lot going on. So I'm gonna lay down some kind of ground rules. The later on in the game, the later on in the draft you are picking, the less it is for your lane. Does that make sense? What I mean by that?
Yeah, and we kind of like had that as like the LC thing, where it was like, well, it's not amazing into Quap, but I guess we could have like picked something better to round out the draft. But yeah.
Oh, I heard it was like you picked Legion for the Quap, right? Or did you pick Legion for a different reason?
We saw like they had Quap and Drow. I thought that we needed a hero that could like lock down those heroes and basically like let us collapse them. And with the pools that I had like available to me, I thought that was like the best option at the time. And we didn't have a lot of time left to like talk about other heroes.
I see. So, what is going on with this fucking... Okay. Okay. Let's break down the draft one step at a time. Why is it... my Dota client's being weird. So the most important thing when your first pick is that your off lane or your first pick does not get fucked. So my question is, what is your guys' impression of how to play the off lane as a duo? Like, I actually remind me, what is your guys' MMRs? So I have a good idea.
So I play 3. I'm about 4,400.
Okay.
And then J-Dog usually plays 4. Sometimes we swap 4 and 5.
Okay.
I don't know what your MMR is, J-Dog.
Yeah, I can't think of the top of my head, but it's a Legend 1, Legend 2 in that range.
Is that around
for a
3K?
while now.
Is that what that is? Or...
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it's around. You guys are all around like 3-4K.
Yeah. About.
Okay. It does. Yeah. It doesn't have to be exact. Just general range. Okay. So when
just keep in mind our traditional 4-player is playing like in my lane as the 1 in both of these games.
He's playing as a 5, you mean, or what do you mean?
So like we swapped the lanes. So we put like J-Dog is the 4-player, but we had him in my lane as a 5 for these games because we thought the Lich Slardar was better than the Slardar Veno.
Okay. Here's what I'm seeing already, what I'm hearing from your guys' drafts. There's too much noise. Way too much noise. Like, for me, an example would be limit to 5 heroes each. Nobody moves lanes. These type of examples is what I mean by no noise. You guys like, so what I'm trying to say is I can tell already, like, it's going to be difficult to maybe explain it, but these are problems. Like, and it's very easy to get caught up in the noise. It's very easy to be making all of these adjustments and fuck up, basically. So we want our goal, like the team that wins TI every year is the team that has the best grasp on the meta, and everybody else is adjusting to them. And I'm not saying that you guys are going to win TI or whatever, but my point is that the thing that defines the winning team is the team that everybody else is adjusting to. And I just want to use that as like kind of an anecdotal evidence for the fact that if you find yourselves adjusting a lot, you're playing the other team's game. And we don't want that. We don't want adjustments. We want clear idea of what makes our heroes work. And it's not a matter of you like, let's say like we want to operate on constraints. So we have 5 heroes, maybe 7 that we did. And J-Dog's always the 4 because I need Clockwork and J-Dog to get a better idea of how to make your lanes work. And that's something you can't do if you're only playing together 70% of the time, 80%. We need you guys like ironing out the 3-4 combos. So like, here's an example. I'll ask Clockwork, what did you need in this lane against Jakiro Drow? Like, how do you play this lane as Slardar?
You just have to play really, really safe for the first couple of minutes. I needed a support that could help zone and do damage to the Drow so that she isn't just clicking me with frost arrows when I try to pull the creeps back.
Is there a hero in the game, J-Dog, that can bully Drow that also doesn't mind getting hit by Jakiro? Do you have a support that satisfies this?
I guess for the pool that I have, the only 2 would be either Veno or like a Marana, right? Like a Marana has the ability to get out if they start to collapse on her.
Okay, my answer... So I was trying to figure out your guys' perspective. My answer is there's no hero in the game that can hit Drow and live through Jakiro Drow harass. That's like an insanely strong lane. Like, there's no hero that can lane against this. So the way that you lane against Jakiro Drow as a Slardar is you don't lane. You drag creeps at 45 seconds in. Sorry, go ahead.
I just want to butt in real quick. It was actually a Tuskar Drow lane.
Same thing. Yeah, very strong still.
Yeah.
Very strong still. That makes sense, though. Very strong. Tusk Drow is very similar. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was almost impossible. The tag team into the Drow autos, well, our positioning, it seemed like no matter how cautious we were being, they could just kill us at any given point in the game.
Absolutely. I can tell you that lane hard counters yours, not because of any other reason than Drow just Slardar really sucks against ranged guys with slows. He just sucks against them because Slardar has to be melee range to do any damage. And if he's allowed to hit you, he owns. If he's not allowed to hit you, he doesn't do anything. He literally does nothing. Very polarizing hero, right? So my point is that for Slardar in the first round of the draft, any melee offlaner, for it to work, if we see a dangerous safe lane being built, we have to pick a melee 4 that drags creeps. We just have to. It's like not an option. There's no hero in the game that you can pick to help Slardar win this lane. There just isn't. You will lose. So the first part of being offlaners and 3s and 4s is learning when you shouldn't lane. So Bounty Hunter, Pudge, Spear Breaker, out of your pool, could be Ogre. I'd say those are the only ones. I'd say Pudge is probably your best lane cutter, but you might want to consider learning a hero like Spear Breaker because he's really good at lane cutting. As like an example, do you guys know what I mean by lane cutting?
Yeah, but I don't know if it's like something. It's probably something we'd have to practice in pubs because I don't.
Yeah, I know what it is, but we don't really do it.
So it's absolutely understandable. Then that means you can't first pick your offlaner. Like the 2 options I see for you as a team is your offlaner either needs to be given a counter matchup or you need to learn to lane cut. Those are the 2 options that fix this problem. So like right now, the safe lane I would say is generally favored. So if you guys wanted to pick like, Jakiro SF, like if I'm an offlaner, what do I pick against that? Like, how do I beat Jakiro SF in lane? Like, that's just a really freaking strong lane. So, like, for you guys, if you want, you have two options. If you're going to pick heroes for the game, but that are weaker in lane, like Slardar, then we need to learn how to get them out of the lanes. But it would make your drafts a lot more straightforward if you just opened up with really strong lanes. Lanes that are kind of just fine to play against whatever. So, like, I think SF Jakiro out of all of your pool would be, like, the best safe lane duo, or, like, Warlock SF or Warlock PL. Like, Warlock with the melee guys is pretty good. Jakiro SF, Dazzle SF, Lich SF, and then Warlock Dazzle with your melee guys would be really strong. Because they give them the heal and you can be more aggressive. So when I'm looking at your guys' like draft, what I'm telling you is I never want to see you be put in this type of situation, which is a really shit lane for you, which is the Tusk Drow, and you guys don't know how to adjust to it. Like, that's like part of what teams learn is that the reason that there's like 4 bans in the first round is because teams need to be allowed to just not be they just need to be like, I just can't beat that team's Drow. I just can't beat, like, we really struggle when the enemy picks Drow safe lane because we don't like to creep cut, and Drow lanes are really strong. So those become your first round bans, right? That's how we can determine your guys' first round bans, is we just need to get you out of the first 10 minutes really solid. So, well, I'm checking in. Is this making sense? How is this sounding to you guys? Does this sound like it would solve your problem, at least for now? We're heading the right direction?
Yeah, I think that would definitely help. Vern, you can go ahead if you had something.
I understand your point. I feel like in this game, it's kind of weird because I was trying something more with like the Slaughter first pick, but I think in general, like as a philosophy, I get what you're saying, and I think like we kind of executed it more in the other draft, like when we go over that, and I can point it out to you. But yeah, I think I feel like I understand what you're saying, but I'm not like 100% sure because we have like you gave like a bunch of examples around the SF and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering like how do we then like translate that to like, and you talked about like the dual pick in that option, and you can just pick like your synergetic winning lane in that scenario. But I was just wondering like what are some other examples that we could be going with, and is it always going to be like a carry matchup, or is there like strong off lanes that are like unbeatable in that sense too that we could be picking as well?
That's a fair question. So let me quickly make this category here. So let's do this. Real quick. So that varies from patch to patch, okay? The idea of which, like, there are patches where people just blind pick off lane duos that are unbeatable. Like that just happens, and that is going to vary from patch to patch. And
I think it's more like, do you just see like obvious ones from our hero pool? Like for me, I feel that way about like Snap Mars and like Snap Axe, for example, because you can just like bully people in the right scenarios and you have like team fight out of lane. But I was just wondering.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I would say that this patch right now much more heavily leans towards safe lane duos being unbeatable rather than off lane duos. So in the there's definitely patches where it leans one way or the other, and I understand that you're saying like, but what about our hero pool? If I'm here telling you exactly what I would do in this current patch if I was starting with a team right now, which is literally what we're doing here, I'd be drafting my safe lane duo early on. That's what I would be doing, because if I have first pick, if I have second pick, then I can be looking to counter them. But for now we're starting from first pick. So what I'm thinking is like, if say your mid laner played SF would be a great first pick. But if you don't play it, that's fine, right? So we don't maybe like what I was pointing out here with this, what I'm doing here is if I open SF, these are like the 3 heroes in your pool that go really nice with it. Snapfire is like okay, but I'd rather have the other 3. So like if you open the pool draft with Warlock, these are nice heroes with it out of your pool. I mean, like Anti-Mage is fine too. But like I think these are the heroes that go well with Warlock. So what I'm thinking for your drafting is when you're first picking, you want a strong laner that has options for you guys. And you want to know what those options are. Meaning you pick Warlock, you know that your laning duo is one of these 4, for example. And then you guys can iron that out. Where like over time you practice, you're like, we feel good about Warlock Spectre. If we're going to open Warlock, we need to first round ban Viper because it fucks all my heroes. Like, I'm just giving an example. Right? But this is how, for me, we can do it from the offlane perspective. But for me, I think the safe lane perspective is better to do here. Would you guys prefer me craft it from the offlane? Because we can try.
I think I like I get what you mean now.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, is there then like other than like SF Warlock, what are some other like pick this and then go second pick combos type that you can see? Or
say that again.
Like so if we didn't want to like first pick SF or Warlock, because I don't know how, if I feel that confidently about like my SF, what are some other things like we could first pick in these scenarios?
Is there any hero that's not in this list that you'd be comfortable picking in the first 3 picks of the draft? It doesn't have to be first pick, it's first 3 picks.
I think I'm fine with any of these heroes like first 3 picks. I just don't know about SF like particularly in the first pick.
It's not.
I would probably
sorry, go ahead.
I'd probably pick like most of these heroes in the first 3 picks of the draft just by looking at the 2 new categories that you made.
Yeah, so then if you don't feel like, I was giving SF as an example, I said if your mid laner picked SF or played SF, it could be a really strong first pick. But because your mid laner doesn't play SF and you said you don't particularly feel comfortable with it being your first pick, like these were all hypotheticals, right? So it's like what we want to do is looking at your hero pools. I'm thinking the best lane to be strong in by default is the safe lane, because in the later stages we can pick heroes that are good for the game and good for the lane. But we want to understand what the early draft is offering us, right? The early draft is offering us a strong lane. And then there's 2 things that we want from the early draft. We need a strong lane, and we need obvious playmaking. Meaning, like, when you think of spells that get casted at minute 8, somebody can die on the enemy team. Right? So, like, we don't want you to play Dazzle Vino. Like, how the fuck do you kill anybody if your supports are Dazzle Vino? Like, right now, I think it's really hard for your 4 position to play for your 4 position to play Vino or Mirana, because these are non-stunning, like, they don't set up ganks, supports, and none of your 5 set up ganks. So, like, if you guys wanted to run Vino Mirana, you would need, like, a Tusk 5 or something like this. Clockwork.
I think
5.
I understand now. Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? So like these go on. I think these heroes go up in value for you. These 3. I would say Ogre doesn't set up ganks either. So like these 3 set up ganks, but these 3 don't, and none of these 6 do.
Okay, makes sense.
So that's like if I'm just looking at the restrictions we've got, like, and professional teams do this, but I also don't want to take away your fun, because it sucks if these are like 2 of your best heroes, like meaning you enjoy playing them the most and all that kind of stuff. But like if you guys open with your 5, then you know that his 3 options for 4 are this, and then so I would the 2 supports not overlapping with what they do in the game is usually very important to make your drafts understandable, where like your 2 supports go somewhere and somebody can die. So then you think like, I have Dazzle, it can go with any of these carries. I think Dazzle, like for instance, I think Dazzle and Warlock are really strong openers for you guys if you're willing to pick them. Same with Jakiro, because they lane well with all of these carries. So like I think these duos are nice. So if you were to do this, your carry can be any of these, which is nice. Like for the problem with AA is I think he needs very specific synergy to make him a good hero, in lane, while like Dazzle and
100%.
Warlock don't, right? Say it again.
100%.
And yeah, for me, AA gets enabled by the stunning carries, Alk, CK, Sven, and they're just not up here, right? And that's fine. But that's what we're trying to kind of figure out for you guys is the overlap in your heroes and where we can make it work. So like if we do Dazzle, we would know that we want Pudge, Hoodwink, or Shaman for our 4 position. And then if we pick, so say we pick Pudge. Like if that's your most played, we can lean into that. Say we pick Pudge. The thing we lack with these is what Pudge usually needs in his lane is a ranged guy. That's usually what he needs. He either needs a ranged guy or a guy with ranged spells. So like I wouldn't pick Mars, Night Stalker, Tide, or Centaur with Pudge, because they can't do anything from range. But what I would be willing to do is like Battle Hungering on Axe. I'd be willing to pick Enigma, really strong lane, because you can hook them into the Eidolons and everything. And Dawnbreaker's fine too, because she's got the hammer. You know, she can gap close with her shit. So then we're looking at if you have Dazzle plus Pudge and these 3, if you pick Dawnbreaker, you have no stuns. So let's just like remove that. Your 2 supports and offlane have no stuns. So then, like, just follow my lead here. Sorry, guys. I know I'm getting too complicated here. If you have Axe, like, I'm just going to go down the list. Now you have Axe in your lineup. You have Axe in your lineup. You've got Dazzle, Pudge, Axe. It's like, okay, we've got some initiation. We've got pickoff. We've got some utility. What we don't have is, like, flash farming mobility on the map, I would say. Like, that makes Pango, Quap, and Void Spirit really good with these 3, I would say, like, as the mid laners. So we got, like, Pango, Void Spirit. Actually, I don't like Void Spirit as much because he doesn't farm. I like the other 2 better. Because you don't have the best, like, we call them ghost pushers. Heroes that, like, can easily clear waves without showing themselves for very long. Like, all these heroes to clear waves, like, need to show themselves. I guess Dazzle's okay, but he's a support. But, like, so I would say it's probably, like, Pango, then Quap, then Void Spirit if you have the Axe. If you have the Enigma, like, if you have the Enigma, what you don't have is somebody who goes in. Because Enigma doesn't like to be first, right? He likes to be, like, a follow-up black holer. He doesn't want to go first. So then you would want to be probably Pango or Monkey King. So I'm just gonna like remove this shit. Too much on my screen. And I know I'm going into a lot of hypotheticals here, but I'm hoping that what I'm showing you is how I envision making your heroes work together. So we have very little stuns, mostly utility and slows and heal on your 5, which is fine. It's actually good when people have like a class, quote unquote, you know, like they kind of play similar heroes every game, which sadly not sadly, but it is what it is, kind of pigeonholes the 4 into picking a playmaker. And, you know, if that's not ideal, then we would need to add a playmaker to 5. And then with that in mind, we've got these 3 heroes. If you've got the 2 ranged guys, that goes well with all these, I would say. So, like, if you were to pick Hoodwink or Shaman, your offlane pool's pretty open. If you were to pick, and then I'd say your carry can kind of come just based on when they pick their offlane. You know, you see, like, your carry could be 2nd pick, 3rd pick, 4th pick. It just depends on what you see. But, like, in 1st pick, if we look at the draft, like the drafting order, the way I would look at it. Sorry, guys. By the way, if I'm not helping at all, just interrupt me, please. I don't want it to be assumed I'm not helping. Are you guys with me so far? Is this helpful?
Can I just so I was just looking at something on the side and I was just wondering because like the hero grids that we have are like a lot bigger than 5 heroes for most people.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, like, would it be better? Because, and I'm just reviewing it myself. Like, for example, like J-Dog, he's played a lot of like Clock and Bounty. Like, he's platinum tier on both of those heroes, but they're not in there as well. So I was just wondering, like, for these concepts, we have these 5 heroes, but I don't know if we've like ironed out like the list that well. And like, should we just be like changing these things up and like adding more things like based off these preferences? Because I get what you're saying about having like these playmaker 4s and like having like these more like spellcast dependent heroes and not having like the overlap there. But I was just wondering if we could be like tweaking some of these things to include, I guess, like, is like 5 heroes like too little is basically what I'm trying to ask. Like,
Okay. So that's a great question. It's a great question. What I just did here is replaced your Veno Morana with these two. And that you just mentioned, the Clock and the Bounty Hunter. Because for me, that's just simply put, these go much better with these. And I think you guys will benefit a lot in the short term. I think in the short term, to clean up your guys' performances, to make it more stable and make it more like easier for you guys to have cohesion as a team. Because, you know, next week and stuff, we're going to be talking more. We're going to be moving past the drafts and we're going to be talking about your guys' macro decisions and your guys' responsibilities on the map. I hope you can kind of see what I'm going for, that it's going to be way easier if your 5 is a utility wave clearer and your 4 is a playmaker than it is for you guys to swap back and forth. Do you know what I mean? Like, you guys will have a similar role every game. You'll just be doing it differently based on the heroes in the game and stuff like that. Does that make sense? How that would simplify that down? Okay. Cool. So what I did there, like, nothing I'm doing here, by the way, like, if you guys come back to me and say, like, this didn't work for us, we prefer this. For me, like, I personally recommend keeping people to kind of like one type of hero, at least on the supports, because they're kind of the foundation of all of your early plays. So if they're going to be in all of your plays, you want them to kind of like, it's not only important that you guys understand exactly what your role is, but your offlaner, your mid, and your carry also know what they're getting out of you. You know what I mean? So it helps simplify the game for everybody. That's usually why even like TI winning supports will have like 3 or 4 heroes they'll play in any given patch. But like, say a new patch comes out and like fucking Warlock sucks dick now, and it's like, you know, go pick something else. Like, you can just rotate Warlock out, and then you just kind of start this process over where you're like, okay, what's our hero pool here? Oh, it kind of makes sense that we play more playmakers in the 5. Okay, we can move his Morana and Venomancer back in. You know, this is stuff that you can do over time. When it comes to these core roles, the way I look at the draft, I'm just going to say this real quick, is that, like, so right now I'd be picking your like really strong laning 5 to start with the hero pools you guys gave me. That's like what I would recommend to you. So like, let's just say this is Warlock. Every pick from then on out is a counter, right? Like, you see 13 and then you get 2 counters. You see 16, 17, you get a counter. So this role over here will be a core role that counters one of these 2 cores. If there are no cores here, it's probably your carry. Because just give yourself something that doesn't die to these 2 supports and lanes with this support. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So if not, like, if we see their mid laner here, then yeah, feel free to pick your mid laner right here. Like, that's what we can do. Just respond to what they're doing. And then by this pick, because this pick's going to be the hardest, I would say you're almost certainly going to pick 5 here. And then they're going to pick their heroes. You're going to pick your 4 here from whatever one of these feels the best. This isn't updated to this, but whichever one of these feels the best against what you see here, because you're like, I need to make plays. Which of these playmakers is best against what we see? Like, that's kind of up to you, J-Dog, and you can just decide there which one feels the best for you. And then the core is either going to be the carry if you don't see a core, or it's going to be the it's going to be off lane if you see their carry, perhaps, because if you see their carry, you're like, okay, I know my lane. I can have a strong lane. We can pick that there. And then, we're going down the draft as we go, but this one's going to be for you guys just if you have not a cheese pick, but like a really strong lane counter, it usually goes on 18. Like if you're like, oh shit, they have puck mid and I can pick sniper and destroy this guy. That's what comes on 18. Like if you have any of those matchups, like you see Ember mid and you're like, I can Monkey King this guy and fuck him up. Does all of that? I know I just kind of sped run it because we don't have like infinite time, but
Yeah,
does this make
I'm
sense?
I'm with you. I'm with you. Can you just quickly do like the vice versa? Like, let's say we were picking a second pick.
Yeah, sure.
What would that then?
It's like auto resuming on me, so I'm just gonna restart the lobby real quick. Let's say your second pick. So your second pick, so what I would say, I would say your second pick is likely going to be a support as well, because I don't think you guys are in a good spot to, like, the only cores that usually get picked early right now, like first round, are offlaners. And in that case, what you could do, since you're second pick and you have 4 bans, if you guys have an offlaner that you would like to play the most, is there an offlaner you would like to play the most?
I'm a big fan of Night Stalker in the right matchups.
Okay, sorry. Is there a hero that you would like to play the most that with 4 bans could be picked right here? Where you'd be like, as long as these 4 heroes aren't in the game, I could lane whatever. That's what I mean by that.
Yeah, I mean, that'd probably be like Tide or Centaur, just something that's super consistent.
Okay. And what would you ban here? Like, say you're Tidehunter, what would you like ban here? Like Ursas and Clarks and stuff?
Yeah, like Ursa's Drows, just things that can slow you down and that you can't like run away from and can burst you in the early game.
Okay. So for me, I think for second pick, if you guys, so first pick is much more about strong lanes, and second pick is much more about having like a more cohesive, like, I like to start with the literal anchor of the draft, no pun intended, with Tidehunter. That, like, if you have a hero like Tide and Centaur, they do set the tone for how your lineup's going to build, right? Like these heroes, like you have team fight if you have Tide, and you have the frontline initiating global presence of Centaur. Like these two are very like game defining the way they play, So if you guys were to pick Tidehunter here, then what that means is for the 4 position, you're looking likely at Hoodwink and Shaman, because having ranged right-clicking harass and a lockdown is really nice with Tidehunter because he doesn't have that. He has good team fight. But you ban for that Tidehunter here, you pick it here, and then you can just pick the 4 right here. And then what happens is that's like your strong laning duo, effectively. And then in the second round, it's nice that you have 2 heroes, by the way, because for some reason, if they were to like pick Tide or something, you'd have an option. But and then here, this 16-17 would just be a response to whatever they're picking here. It could likely be your safe lane duo, like just another strong duo that you guys have, whatever combo you'd like to do. Because you're probably not going to see your off lane here. Like you probably won't see it. So having like a strong laning duo that you guys really feel comfortable on. But what happens is if they pick their mid here, then instead of picking your safe lane carry, you should pick your mid to counter it, so you can save your carry pick. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Can I just ask 2 quick questions?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. What's up?
Well, one's more of a statement than a question. Just so you know, like in these drafts, people tend to just pick like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Or and maybe we'll swap. And then the other thing is if we start with the Tide or the Centaur, would Veno be? Do you think Veno is a viable option there too, or no?
If you're going to pick Veno with the Tide Centaur, okay, so Centaur, you have a stun, while Tide Hunter's a bit limited on stun, even though he has the shard and everything. I would just say if you have a Veno, it's very likely that your mid laner will need to be like Void Spirit, Pango, or Monkey. Like, it kind of removes Quap Sniper from the equation. But you could do that, for sure. Does that make sense?
So like, why does it remove like Quap Sniper, for example? Like,
Because in your team's pool, your 2 supports plus mid or your 2 supports plus offlane have to have very obvious kill threat. So what I'm thinking is that your 5s are a bunch of ranged heroes with slows. And so it's okay if you pick Venomancer 4, but that means you have ranged heroes with slows for fucking days. So the last thing we want is a 3rd ranged hero with slows. You see what I mean?
okay, I'm with you there, but if like, for example, if like they don't have like they have extremely kiteable heroes, for example, and you notice that by 18, like I assume it's still fine to pick those types of heroes, especially if it has a strong lane, or
I see what you're saying. I mean, in general, I never think all-inning one idea is good, personally. Even if, like, I don't want to say never. I mean, at that point, it's your judgment call, because the later on in the draft you go, if you have a bunch of slows, what you're risking is, like, they could pick a hero that you need to stun and can kill all of you guys. Like, meaning they can like jump on top of you and they're very mobile. Like, you run the risk of like mobile split pushers that you would have to stun. And for me, it's like, it's not always about what you see, it's also about what could be coming. So for me, it's like better to have a well-rounded draft that has damage, slows, stuns, team fight, and then no matter what they pick, you still have answers. But like, if you pick Venomancer, Dazzle, Quap, and they last pick a Puck, you're kind of like crying because you just have no answer and you have no stuns. So it's just, I'm just letting you know it's a risk. It's just risky because your carry pool also has no stuns.
So this is JDoc. So pass forward 2 other heroes that I play a lot. I mean, I wouldn't rank them in the top 5 like we started this conversation at, but is Spearbreaker and Venge, right?
Okay.
I think Venge gives that like stun lacking aspect, right?
Okay, so how do I word this? There's a very clear difference between catch and stuns. My main thing when I'm saying stuns, and I need to start correcting this, is there's somebody showing on a lane and you can kill them. Venge doesn't kill people who show on lane. She has a stun, but she doesn't help hunt people. Like, Spearbreaker is catch. Pudge is catch. Shaman is catch. Venge is a stun. Do you guys see, like, the difference of what I mean? I don't know if I'm making sense.
I mean it does to me, but wouldn't
Yeah, I
a
get what you're
swap
saying.
depending on the hero like also be considered catch?
Quap? Did you say Quap?
Like a Venge swap,
Oh,
like an
Venge swap.
offensive swap.
Yeah, because I'm usually an aggressive 4 player, right? So my favorite way to play Venge is like what Vern's saying is you swap an enemy into your team to nuke them and then hopefully force Staff Glimmer Cape out, right?
I
Like,
see.
that's my philosophy.
I see. Well, then I get that. Okay. So for me, Venge is not a catch hero, but what you're saying, like, meaning the way I envision her, but like, if that's how you play her, then it can absolutely work. Like, there's no right answer here. So if that, if I'm telling you guys just make sure you have catch, and you're like, that solves our problem. Like, I feel very comfortable on Venge initiating and finding people with these like stealthy and mobility items. Like, I'm down for that. Go for it. It's much more. What's much more important about what we're saying here is that you guys understand the problems that I'm concerned about arising in your drafts, rather than the exact answers I'm giving you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I'm with you on the most part. I'm trying to like find some examples to understand it a bit better.
It's a lot to digest. I get that. The reason that I started with 5 is because when we evaluate your guys's, I'm going to disconnect from this. When we evaluate your guys's macro moves and your like team play as a whole, I want to be able to keep it, because it's one thing for me to be in like a one-on-one coaching session and talk to a carry player or a mid player about how to play the map and how to play their role. But now we're talking about the big picture of an entire team and you guys moving around the map as a cohesive unit and each of you understanding your individual roles and knowing that if you guys aren't on the same page, it's gonna feel a lot worse, right? So I just mentioned 5 heroes and you guys having like a general role in the game so that when we evaluate, okay, like for me, it might be best for now, unless it's a super good lane, that you don't play sniper mid because the other 4 are pretty mobile playmakers. Like they all fit kind of like a very similar archetype, you know? Like for the short term, I'm not saying forever, never pick sniper again. I'm just saying like for the short term. Because I see in the carries, these are a lot of farm heavy, stunless, a lot of illusion heroes, scale pretty hard. Like, so I feel like everybody for the most part kind of has a, like after we slotted you as a playmaker, everybody's kind of got their job in the lineup for me. That's what I'm seeing. And as long as we each have a job in the lineup and we have a rough idea of how to draft so that we don't end up in really rough lanes, then a lot of stuff's going to fall into place naturally and we'll have a much more constructive conversation next time around, is what I think. When I'm not more constructive than today, but I'm saying it's more constructive this way than it would otherwise be if we didn't keep these things consistent. Because you guys are going to have a week between now and the next session where you guys can iron out a little bit of this stuff. Maybe you find like, oh, like Dazzle Venge felt really strong for us, or Dazzle Spearbreaker felt really strong, or Lich Pudge, or whatever. You know, you guys are going to have like things that you felt worked really well. You're going to have things that didn't work very well, and we can discuss that. And I know we didn't really talk too much about your replays today, but I wasn't sure how it was going to go into this, but I do think you guys getting your drafts down is absolutely essential when I look at those drafts, because when you pick Legion last, like I'm trying to give some final thoughts here. When it's my last pick, what matters to me the most is that my hero's good in the game. And the problem with Legion in this game, and when I think of Legion, is I want to have the vision advantage against them. That's one thing, because Legion relies heavily on seeing her targets and initiating on them. And the second is I want to be able to press duel with no concern of getting saved. So I hate playing Legion into Dazzle, Shadow Demon, Wyvern, Tusk, who's in this game. I don't want to play her into hard saves. So, like, for me, it's like, I would understand if Legion was picked second or third, and then, like, they countered with a save. But we don't want to end up in spots where your last pick is bad for the draft, in the sense that the hero's kit is countered. But because I think what you guys were saying is you picked Slardar with the intent to flex it, potentially, and then you were, like, running out of time. And that can happen very easily, right? Like, this kind of stuff where the draft gets really chaotic and we're doing too much, and then we end up kind of pigeonholing ourselves. And that's why I'm trying to kind of bring it back to a really limited but comfortable zone for you guys. That's like what I'm trying to do today. Go ahead.
Can you also look at the other draft and just give some like quick thoughts on it?
Sure.
Because I think this one was pretty like I knew like once the draft was done like what went wrong. But I was just wondering if you feel like some of the concepts we were talking about were expressed better in this draft.
Okay. So in this draft, you have Snapfire Luna safe lane, you have Sniper mid, you have Hoodwink Tide. So this lineup has solid range damage. It has stuns with the Hoodwink and the Tide, and you have team fight. So like there's a lot of good things going on in this draft. So what I'm thinking is that you have people who go in, specifically the Tide Hunter. Hoodwink is pretty elusive in this game. It's pretty hard for a Hoodwink to die here. Like if playing on the trees, like they don't really have hard stuns on the opponent team. when I'm looking at their draft, I see Silencer Ursa, which would be a bit rough for Tide Hoodwink, but it should be fine. Like Tide Hoodwink's just a really strong lane. And then you have so it's Luna Snap against Luna's just really good against Tidehunter. Or sorry, against Timbersaw. Really good against Timbersaw. Was it Timber off or Viper off?
It was Timber off.
Yeah, so Luna's very good
Yeah,
against Timber. Go ahead.
The Hoodwink laned with the Luna and the Snap laned with the Tide.
Oh, I mean, yeah, those are pretty interchangeable. That's fine too. Yeah, those are pretty interchangeable. Both are about the same strength of lanes. And then you have Sniper against Viper. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the exact order here. I can like look at it. But in terms of your cohesive unit of a draft, like in the other one you had 3 melee guys like you said, and they had answers directly to your forms of initiation. In this game, I'm like, you guys have long range damage, you have team fight, you have saves. Yeah, you built to survive against the Ursa and Timber, that makes sense. Yeah, Hurricane Pike Butterfly, that also makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I mean, for me, this draft does make more sense. I like this draft more. And other than the Luna, all of these heroes are on your grid. Like, and you can add Luna if you like. I'm not saying don't do that. But, like, I could see this, like, these are strong lanes by default. Like, Luna's a strong laning carry as well. Strong off lane. Like, Slardar is one of those heroes. Like, I think Slardar and Nightstalker, for instance, are heroes that are, like, very situational with their lane matchups and stuff. But like if you're gonna pick the Tidehunter, as long as you're not dealing with, you know, like Drow SF or something, like one of these super annoying ranged carries, you should feel pretty good. I mean, even Ursa struggles a little bit in lane against you, but it's annoying later. But yeah, I do like this draft a lot more.
Okay, so I think like I know what I think we should be doing, like going through. We'll probably like iron out like those 5 heroes that we talked about and try to like figure out those roles going ahead. Is there like anything else we should be doing before like the next session other than just like playing and seeing how these ideas work?
Yeah, I think my main concern for you guys is getting out of the lanes first and foremost. That's always the biggest problem. That's a problem on professional teams. But when you guys come back to me, I want to, if you can, when you bring me a replay, maybe it's like a portion of the game you guys just didn't know what to do, or you feel like your lineup didn't have any answers to what was happening in the game. Some example of that or some feeling of that where we talk about like, do you guys want more clarity from post laning stage? Do you want more clarity from, you know, around the 20 to 30 minute mark where you start getting Tormentors and Roshans? Do you want more like map play? Like, you know, what exactly do you guys want from me, basically? And once you guys are ironing this out, I just want to know what problems you guys are having in the game itself. You know what I mean?
Can we come with like multiple examples or just like one specific thing? Like,
no, I mean the more specific your examples are, the more quickly we can get through them, right? So if you have like 3 or 4 specific examples, that's fine. Like we can get as much as we can get done. You know, that's how I look at it. The sky's the limit.
okay, sounds good then. Yeah.
Yeah. Any final questions from anybody?
No, just thanks. I think this was pretty helpful.
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. Sweet guys. See you next week.
Yo, cast one. Is Aghanim Scepter good on Sniper mid?
I mean, I was gonna flame it to be honest, but I didn't. In this situation, like if I'm sniper, like for me, it's like you either go like Dragonlance Ags, like, and then you play around the ult itself. But if you go right click like this, for me, I would just be going like BKB or Silver Edge or Daedalus or something. Like I if I'm going right click items, then I'm not gonna go Ags basically. Like,
No, I completely agree with that. Yeah.
that sounds personal.
there was a call out in the
Get me
game.
started about game 2, Vern.
I'll let you guys
This was-
sort that one out in therapy. So
This was helpful. Thank you.
awesome, guys. Yeah, I'll see you next week. I look forward to it.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Yep. See ya.
Take care.
Whew. My brain is fried in a good way. In a good way. Do I ever play just a vibe with a little herb? For me, weed is not something I don't really smoke weed very often. When was the last time I smoked weed? I feel like it's been at least. I don't think I've smoked weed since I've been dating my partner. I think it's been at least a couple of years. Been a while. But okay, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll be back online tomorrow with some more coaching sessions. We have 2 coaching sessions tomorrow. I'm going to go get ready for bed because it's 10:20 p.m. So, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye now.